Sage, thank you so much for today. I'm sorry my parents asked about things like your income and all those other personal questions. It must have felt pretty uncomfortable, right?
They did ask some pretty probing questions. I'll admit I was a bit surprised. But don't worry, I was already prepared, thanks to what you told me in advance.
I'm so embarrassed. My parents only care about things like money or education. They only focus on those things.
But hey, they approved of our marriage, and that's something to be happy about, right?
I hate to say it, but I feel like they probably only gave their approval because of your job at a well-known company. My parents seemed so pleased, like they think I'm some lucky girl who's landed the jackpot with you.
Well, at least with that approval, you'll be able to get away from living with them, right?
I hope so. I've tried to break away from them before, but somehow they always manage to pull me back in.
This time, I know it's gonna work. I'll be here for you no matter what, and I'm gonna make sure you're never in a situation like that again. I promise. I'll protect you.
But I worry. Once I tell them I won't be sending any money to them after we get married, I'm sure they'll be furious. They'll probably say terrible things to you, and they might even contact your family to complain. It could get really messy.
My parents are pretty capable of handling any issues that come our way, and they've already told me they'll support us. You've given so much of your hard-earned money and so much of your life to your family. It's time for you to have the freedom you deserve. You should never feel guilty about that.
Thank you. Really. I think if I hadn't met you, I would have been used by them for the rest of my life. I was just a tool for earning money to them, while my little sister was always the real child in their eyes. They never made me feel like I mattered as much.
Well, from now on, I'm gonna make you happy and help you feel like you're truly appreciated. I want you to just leave everything to me.
Thank you. I want to do what I can to help you too, and I'll work on becoming stronger so I can support us both.
I think you're already strong enough as you are. I find that about you to be so admirable and attractive. Anyway, we've gotten through introducing me to your family and your parents' questioning. So let's take a moment to just feel relieved about that.
You're right, and next week we'll go looking for a place to live together. There are so many exciting things coming up for us.
Oh, by the way, I already found a few possible places for us to consider.
You've already been looking?
I can't help it. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll message you the ones I found so you can take a look.
That sounds great. I'll look through the listings too and see if I can find any good options for us.
Madison, you said you weren't feeling well. Are you okay? Should we cancel the meeting tomorrow?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean by sorry?
I can't see you.
Oh, I understand. Do you need anything? I can bring you something if it'd help.
I don't need anything.
Right. I guess since you're at your parents' house, you're okay.
Sage, I'm really sorry. Please, let's break up.
Wait. What are you talking about?
I can't get married. I found out I'm sick.
Sick? What kind of sickness?
It's advanced cancer. They said stage 4.
No way. This can't be true, right?
It's not a lie.
I want to see you right now.
You can't. Please, don't come.
I can't just stay away like that. I'll come get you, okay? Let's go back to your place.
I'm not going. Please, promise me you won't come.
But I told you I'd marry you no matter what.
You won't be happy if you marry me. Please, respect my wishes. I know what I'm saying sounds harsh, but I'm going through this too, and it's incredibly hard for me. This is my last request. Please, forget about me as soon as you can. Sage, good evening. This is Madison's mother, Beverly.
Beverly, good evening. Actually, I was just about to come over. Madison hasn't been answering her messages, so I thought I'd come check on her in person.
Sage, I'm really sorry for everything that's happened.
No need to apologize. I don't think this is anyone's fault, really. Sometimes things just happen.
But of course it's Madison's fault for getting cancer. She was finally blessed with someone like you, such a respectable fiance. And yet she's ruined everything with this. That girl has always been so unfortunate. Like back when she was applying for college, she fell ill right at a crucial time. So she didn't make it into the school we were hoping for. She had to settle for some third-rate university in the end.
I don't see how that has anything to do with the current situation.
You're such a kind person, Sage. The truth is, though, we always felt it would be a shame for someone like you to marry Madison.
That's not true. Madison is a wonderful person, and I honestly feel like it's more that she's too good for me.
Oh, you don't have to say that. Anyway, hear me out. How would you feel about marrying Madison's younger sister, Rachel, instead?
What?
I know it might come as a surprise, but this sort of thing used to happen more often in the past. If the elder sister was unable to marry for some reason, the younger sister would step in. It's really not that unusual if you think about it.
But I want to marry Madison!
Rachel is much more accomplished than Madison. I've been teaching her since she was young to be proficient in household skills. And she now works at a prestigious company, one that, I might add, doesn't fall short of yours in any way. Madison is, well, if you compare the two of them, she's not even close to Rachel.
Madison is not inferior to anyone, and certainly not her sister.
Well, that's just your opinion. But realistically, Madison doesn't have much time left, does she? And besides, didn't she already tell you she wanted to break things off?
Yes, but I know that's not what she truly wants. I can tell. I don't believe she really wants to end things between us.
That's a waste of time. We've already accepted that Madison has no future now. There's no point in clinging to her.
Wait, what do you mean by no future and accepted it?
Exactly what I said. We've accepted that she's of no value to us anymore.
Did you actually abandoned her? She just found out she has terminal cancer. How could you possibly turn your back on her now?
We don't need her here anymore. Keeping her around would only inconvenience us. We have no intention of taking care of her, so I think it's in your best interest to let go as well. Don't waste your valuable time on her. Instead, why don't you take the opportunity to go out with her healthy younger sister, Rachel? Madison introduced you to our family. It would be such a waste to lose that connection.
I understand completely. Thank you for being honest with me.
Oh, so you're actually interested then? You know, Rachel has had her eye on you since the day we first met. She told me she thought you'd make the perfect husband, and she's wanted to marry you ever since she saw you. Madison wouldn't hear of it, though. She's so stubborn, blocking her own sister's happiness. Honestly, she's brought this illness upon herself by acting so spitefully, huh?
I think I've heard enough. I'll honor Madison's wishes. I'm ending things between us.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, you're such an understanding person, Sage. It's refreshing to see someone so sensible, and it's no wonder you're so successful. Rachel will be delighted to hear the news. Thank you for being so willing to listen, and I look forward to building a close bond between you and our family through Rachel. Hey, Sage, I received a message from Rachel. Is it true that you didn't show up for your date? Oh, she's been waiting for over an hour now. What are you doing?
I was at the city hall with Madison.
With Madison? And what exactly were you doing at City Hall?
We got married. Madison and I are now officially husband and wife.
What? But you were supposed to marry Rachel, weren't you? What are you doing? You were supposed to break up with Madison, right?
I didn't break up with Madison.
But you said you would. You said you were going to separate from her.
By separate, I meant cutting ties with your family. Don't come near either Madison or me again.
What about Rachel? What does this mean for her?
I don't know. In the first place, Rachel was the one who unilaterally decided on the date. I never agreed to it. It's completely ridiculous that people even think I had any intention of going. I never made any such promise.
Rachel really enjoys meeting with you. She was always looking forward to seeing you. Why are you so obsessed with Madison? Why do you keep choosing Madison over Rachel? You should be with Rachel. She's the one who's always been there for you, and now she's even gotten sick because of you.
Madison is extremely capable. She's one of the kindest people I've ever met.
Capable? Oh, what makes you say that? Look at what she's done so far. She went to a third-rate university, and now she works at a small company that nobody's ever heard of. She can't seem to do anything right when it matters. What's so great about her? What's even appealing about her?
Madison was actually on track to attend the same university you wanted her to go to.
Yeah, but the entrance exam didn't go well at all because she caught a cold. She had a terrible time during the exam.
That was Rachel's fault.
What do you mean it was Rachel's fault? How could she be so responsible for that?
Before the exam, Rachel poured water all over Madison, and when Madison was sleeping, Rachel opened the bedroom window all the way. She locked the door to the balcony to keep Madison from going outside. Because of that, Madison caught a cold just before her exam.
Rachel would never do something like that. That sounds like something Madison would make up just to gain sympathy. She's trying to manipulate you into believing her story.
If you don't believe me, that's fine, but I've heard that Rachel also caused Madison a lot of trouble while she was job hunting.
Why didn't you ever say anything about this before? Why keep it all silent?
Because you all always favored Rachel. I heard that whenever Madison tried to talk about it, you didn't listen to her. Besides, you were putting a lot of pressure on both Madison and Rachel to study. Madison always thought Rachel was also a victim of everything you were doing to her.
We were just doing what any parent would do. We've invested so much money in making sure both of you could attend a good university, but what happened? Madison ended up going to a university for people who couldn't get into a better one. Do you know how devastating that was for me? I was so disappointed.
So all this time you've been exploiting Madison? You took all her salary, all her bonuses after she started working. You've taken everything she earned, haven't you?
I'm only asking for the tuition fees back. That's all.
Are you seriously claiming that Madison hasn't paid enough? You took everything from her. You kept her earnings all these years, didn't you? You were only interested in her paycheck, weren't you?
You have to understand that it's natural for children to support their parents.
Are you serious? You're saying all this, yet you don't care about Madison in the slightest. How can you be so heartless? You don't care about her at all.
She's just a child. I don't care about her at all. I don't think I've received anything close to a proper repayment for raising her. But once she's gone, maybe she'll finally be of some use to me. Maybe I'll even get some of that life insurance money. That'll give her life some meaning, I suppose.
Oh, by the way, I'm changing the beneficiary of Madison's life insurance policy.
What? You can't be serious.
I am serious. I'm now her family, so Madison's family is no longer just you. I have a right to change that beneficiary.
Don't even joke about this. This is unacceptable. I won't allow it.
The one who decides is not you, but Madison herself.
I need to speak to Madison. Please, let me speak to her.
No! Madison says she doesn't want to talk to you, nor does she want to see you.
Sage, is this what you're after? You're after Madison's insurance money, aren't you? You're just using her to get what you want.
Madison is the one who wants to change the beneficiary. And Madison will be undergoing treatment soon. I still haven't given up hope that her cancer can be cured.
But it's terminal cancer. She's not going to survive this.
There's still a very slim chance. Some people do survive, even in situations like hers. It's rare, but it happens.
Please, let me meet Madison. I'll apologize for everything I've done. Please, just let me talk with her.
You abandoned her after finding out she had terminal cancer. And now you want to meet her just so you can convince her to change the beneficiary, don't you?
Actually, after Madison's gone, Rachel's debts came to light. That's why we need money. We can't manage without it.
That has nothing to do with Madison.
She's Rachel's sister. When Madison finds out, she'll definitely help us. She'll pay for everything.
I just asked her, and she said she won't give you anything.
That's impossible. She's always done everything for the family. She would never turn her back on us.
You're the ones who abandoned her first. What right do you have to say anything now? You don't have a say in her life anymore. Madison's life is her own, and you have no right to take it away from her.
I gave birth to Madison. She's my daughter. I have the right to be involved in her life.
You think that gives you the right to ruin her life? You've lost that right. Give it up. Madison and I have no more relations with you.
Please give Madison back. I'll accept your marriage now, and from now on, I'll treat her properly. I'll make sure to care for her the way she deserves.
It's pointless. We don't have time for this anymore. You two are the ones who are worthless. I never want to deal with selfish, ignorant people like you again.
Since the discovery of my cancer, Sage has continuously reached out to me, always checking in and offering his support. However, after being kicked out of my family, I believed there was nothing left for me to do. I found myself wandering alone, revisiting the places Sage and I had once visited together on our dates, trying to make sense of the situation. I thought maybe it would help, maybe seeing these places would bring some sense of comfort, or at least help me understand how my life had come to this point. Then out of nowhere, Sage appeared. It felt like a dream. For a moment I was frozen, unable to move or respond, unsure if my eyes were deceiving me. Was it really him? Had I imagined it? But as he came closer, it became undeniable. Sage was standing right there in front of me. He had taken time off of work to come and look for me. I noticed that he looked a bit worn out, as if he hadn't been sleeping properly. His face drawn with concern, his expression conveyed so much, worry, relief, and tenderness. It was as if he had been looking for me everywhere, tirelessly, and now, at last, had found me. The emotions that surged through me were overwhelming. I had hurt someone who cared for me so deeply, and here he was, looking for me. Even after everything that had happened, I could hardly contain myself. The weight of it all hit me at once, and I began to sob uncontrollably, like a child who had lost their way. My tears flowed freely, and for a moment nothing else mattered. Sage was here, and he cared about me. I felt a mix of guilt and gratitude, and my emotions were all tangled up. When I finally managed to calm down, I found myself in Sage's arms, his comforting embrace offering me the solace I so desperately needed. We stood there for a while, both of us taking in the moment, as though neither of us could believe that we had finally found each other again after everything that had happened. He gently wiped away my tears, and in that quiet, tender moment, we began to talk about the future. Despite the uncertainty that loomed ahead, Sage spoke with such determination. "Let's do this together," he said. "No matter what happens, we will fight. I won't give up on you. I want you to live." His words resonated deep within me. The hope in his voice gave me the strength to keep going. Even though the road ahead seemed impossible, Sage's presence and his resolve were like lifelines. I nodded at his words, my heart filled with both fear and determination. I made a promise to myself and to Sage that I would face whatever came next, no matter how difficult. I had made the decision to live, to keep fighting, not just for myself, but for Sage too. I wasn't going to let him down. Soon after that, Sage and I got married. It was a small, quiet ceremony, just the two of us. But in that moment, it felt like everything had fallen into place. We didn't have much, but we had each other, and that was enough for me. I moved in with him, and we started our life together, with the understanding that the journey ahead would be full of challenges, but also filled with love and support. As for my family, I heard that after I left, they had begun scrambling to pay off Rachel's debts. My income had been a major source of support for them, and with me out of the picture, they were struggling. Now it seems they were relying on Rachel's salary to make ends meet. I can only imagine how difficult it must have been for them to adjust to living without the money they were accustomed to. The idea of lowering their standard of living after years of indulging in whatever they wanted must have been an unimaginable task. They had always lived beyond their means, and now the reality of having to scale back was hitting them hard. I'm sure it wouldn't be easy, and I suspected they would face a lot of financial difficulties in the coming months. Rachel, too, would likely suffer the same fate I had. The tension in our family would weigh heavily on her, just as it had on me. I could only imagine how much she would struggle with the pressure of dealing with both of my parents' expectations and the burden of their debts. I had been in that same position, and I knew how suffocating it could feel. But honestly, it was no longer my problem. I had made my peace with it. Whatever happened to them, however they chose to deal with their struggles, it didn't concern me anymore. I had my own battles to fight now. A few days ago, I underwent my first surgery. It was a major step, but I knew that there was still a long road ahead. The cancer had spread, and now I had to face the next phase of treatment. I had always known that this would be a difficult journey, but it felt even more real now that it was happening. The doctors had warned me that the path to recovery would be long and uncertain, but I was determined to face it head on. The future was unclear, and there were no guarantees. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to give up, not with Sage by my side. I still had a long way to go before I could consider myself fully healed. The doctors were doing everything they could, but there was no way to predict what the future held. It felt like I was standing on the edge of a precipice, unsure of what would happen next. But despite the uncertainty, I found solace in the fact that Sage was there with me. He was my rock, my anchor in the storm. With him by my side, I knew I could face anything. My family might look at me now and see nothing but a shell of the person I used to be, someone ravaged by illness. They might even feel pity, thinking I was nothing more than a tragic figure, but I didn't feel that way, not anymore. I was alive, I was fighting, and I was happy. Sage had given me a chance to live again, and that was something no one could take away from me. I wasn't sure how much longer I had, but for as long as I could, I would continue to fight. I was determined to make the most of the time I had left, to cherish every moment with Sage, and to hold on to the love and joy that he had brought into my life. I wasn't going to let this illness define me. I wasn't going to let it take away my happiness. I would fight for Sage, for myself, and for the future we still had ahead of us. Recently, I finished my first surgery, and I'm now entering the stage of treating the cancer that has spread. It's still a long road ahead before I can even think of a complete recovery, and honestly, I have no idea what the outcome will be. The doctors have been clear that this type of cancer can be unpredictable, and the journey is likely to be filled with many obstacles. There's always the possibility of setbacks, and I have to stay strong and prepared for whatever happens. But despite the uncertainty, there is something that I know for sure. There is someone beside me who will never leave, who will always be there to support me no matter how hard things get. That person is Sage. Sage has been with me through so much already, and I can't even begin to express just how much his presence means to me. He is without a doubt the most important person in my life. I don't think I would have had the strength to face what's happening without him. When I was at my lowest, thinking about everything that was lost and that there was no way forward, he was there, offering me a hand, reminding me that I wasn't alone in this. He's been my rock, my support, my encouragement, and most importantly, he's given me a reason to keep fighting when I felt like giving up. It's strange, really. I never imagined that my life would take such a drastic turn. When I first found out about the cancer, I thought I was going to lose everything. I thought that all my hopes and dreams were slipping away, and that there was nothing left for me. I had visions of a bleak, lonely future, one filled with hospital rooms, treatments, and constant fear. But Sage changed that. He reminded me that even in the darkest of times, there's always light. Sometimes it's just a matter of having the right person by your side. My parents, on the other hand, don't share my perspective. They've never been the most emotionally supportive, and when I was diagnosed, I think they saw me as someone to be pitied. They might even think I'm miserable now, especially since I'm battling something so difficult. Maybe in their eyes, they think I'm just a burden now, something to be avoided or to be seen with sadness. And I won't lie, their lack of support has hurt me deeply. I always thought that family would be there for you in times like these, but instead, they've distanced themselves from me, almost as if they can't bear to look at me in this state. But despite all that, despite how my parents view me now, I can honestly say that I'm happy. I'm truly, genuinely happy. Happiness may look different than I once imagined, but it's real. The happiness I feel comes from knowing that I have Sage in my life. It comes from his love and his belief in me, and the way he always encourages me to keep going, no matter how hard it gets. I know that my future is uncertain, and I know that the journey will be tough, but I also know that I'm not facing it alone. When I think about what's ahead, I know it won't be easy. There will be days when I feel weak, when the treatment takes a toll on my body and my spirit. There will be moments when I wonder if I can keep going, if it's all worth it. But I know that I'm not the same person I was before. I'm stronger now. Not just because of what I've been through, but because of the support I've received. Sage has given me the strength to face the unknown with courage. One of my biggest fears throughout all of this has been the thought of losing Sage. I know that cancer doesn't just affect the person who's sick, it affects everyone around them. It puts a strain on relationships, on emotions, on everything. But Sage has proven time and time again that he's not going anywhere. He's stuck by me even when it would have been easier to walk away, even when I felt like I was too much to handle. And for that, I am eternally grateful. I can't explain how much it means to me to have him with me, not just physically, but emotionally as well. He listens to me, comforts me, and always reassures me that everything will be okay. I know it's not easy for him either. He's making sacrifices, putting his life on hold, and doing everything he can to help me through this. There are days when I feel like I'm just dragging him down, but he always tells me that he's not going anywhere and that he's not leaving my side no matter what. The road ahead is long, and I don't know where it will lead. There's still so much that's uncertain, so much that's beyond my control. But one thing I do know is that I'm not giving up, not while I have Sage by my side. Not while I still have a chance to fight. I will keep going for as long as I can, and I will do everything in my power to beat this. For Sage, for myself, and for the future that I still believe is possible. Even if it's just a small possibility, even if the chances are slim, I'm not going to let go of the hope that things can get better. I won't let cancer define me. I won't let it take away my will to live. And every day, no matter how hard it gets, I will fight. I will fight for the life I still want to live, for the love I still want to give, and for the future that I still hope to have. I will fight because I believe in myself. I believe in Sage. Together, we can face anything.